Okay, so let's start with Alan. And Alan is our new state chair.
Thank you. Hey, first and foremost, I just want to say, now y'all know, back when I was somebody in the Army, if you walked in late, we just dropped you for push-ups. I am talking a lot. I'm seeing doing no push-ups, okay? Look, I'm not gonna stand up there because I want to be down here with you all. Let me first of all say this. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for your thoughts. Thank you for your prayers. Thank you for your well wishes. I'm a walking miracle. People don't survive a motorcycle accident on the interstate at 75 miles per hour. And that was just 2 months ago. So to be able to stand here before you all, you know, my little chicken wing here is I'm getting a range of motion back. I had, major shoulder surgery to reconstruct a socket bone, and I have 2 screws in there. But, I'm running up to 6 miles, I'm swimming again and everything. That's because of your prayers. And as it says in James chapter 5, the fervent prayers of a righteous man and woman availeth much. So thank you for your fervent prayers. But I gotta tell you, God has a sense of humor. Because the accident happened in the city of West, Texas. But I will tell you this also, I have a little bit of sense of humor. That's what paratroopers do, because even when you're suffering, you're hurting. I'm laying there in the trauma surgery room, doctor, and I looked up to the guys who were treating me. I said, if you guys put me down as a COVID-19 death, I'll come back and kill you. Well, let's talk about Texas. Let's talk about the importance of the Republican Party for Texas. We want to be relevant again. And we want to go on the offense. No longer are we going to be on the defense. No longer are we going to let the other side dominate the narrative. No longer are we going to allow them to put us on the defense and we have to react to them. When you think about the great state of Texas, and I know there's some people out there saying, well, you only been here 6 years. You're not one of these born and raised Texans. But Sam Houston wasn't born and raised Texan. Mirabeau Lamar was not a born and raised Texan. William Barrett Travis wasn't. Jim Bowie wasn't. Davy Crockett wasn't. Now, all 5 of those men that I just named, I was born and raised in Georgia, and I went to the University of Tennessee. All of them have a connection to the state that I was born and raised in, and of course the state where I went to college. Because there's something about Texas that when there's a fight for liberty and freedom, people come from all around the world, all around these United States of America to answer the call to arms, to answer the call to service. We had a saying in the military, and I'm sure this man back here with that first cap hat knows about it. You move to the sound of the guns. And the guns are sounding here in the great state of Texas. Barack Obama, Eric Holder, Michael Bloomberg dumping $30 million because they want the state of Texas. First of all, they want our Texas State House. The next thing is they want to take more congressional districts out of the great state of Texas. When you think about what is going on right now in the capital city of the great state of Texas, buses of Antifa protesters have showed up in our capital city. To me, that's unconscionable. To me, that's something that we should not stand for. And sadly, from what I've been told and what seems to be reported, the mayor of Austin, Texas, has told the Austin police to stand down. We will not see our capital city look like Seattle. We will not see our capital city look like Portland. We will not see any of the major cities in the great state of Texas become the progressive socialist left examples of the failures of their policies. That's what we have to do. This is your challenge. All of y'all out here in the beautiful panhandle of Texas, we need you. If you are not at 75% turnout in this election cycle, you put this state in jeopardy. This is an all-hands moment. It's not just about getting out and registering to vote so that we can vote for this great congressional candidate. It's about getting out there and voting for this great congressional candidate. Okay? This is your call to action. And not only that, I want you to go out there and find 5 people that don't think and believe as you do and get 3. And it's possible. I was just in El Paso. We got up this morning, 4 o'clock, and we came here. Last night, there was a city councilman in El Paso that was at our event at the El Paso County GOP headquarters. He's a Democrat. He stood up there, and he spoke to the crowd. And I said, I'm here to offer you an invitation to be a part of the Republican Party of Texas. And he accepted, because he said this party, the Democrat Party today, is not the party that reflects his principles and values. It's either this, and this is what I want all of us to understand, it's either the rule of law or it's the rule of the mob. And every single one of us should stand for the rule of law. It's either we continue to make people victors or we make people victims. It's either we stand up for economic empowerment or we believe in economic enslavement. It's either we believe in individual rights, freedoms, liberty, and sovereignty, or we believe in collective subjugation. Texas is all about the individual. Texas is all about that swagger. And when you come into this great state of Texas, there's one thing you need to do. You need to check yourself. You need to make sure you understand why you're coming into the great state of Texas. We have not done a good job of articulating that to many people. A lot of businesses and corporations, a lot of folks moving here to Texas from California, Illinois, New York, and New Jersey. From what I understand, most of them just continue to transit right through Amarillo on I-40, and then they show up down in Dallas, or they show up in Austin, or in Houston, or San Antonio. But we got to ask them one simple question. Why are you here? If you are here because you want to be a part of this great state and this great history, a storied history, then we welcome you. Because Texas is not just a geographical piece of land, Ronnie. Texas is about something in your heart. Texas is about a state of mind. And if people aren't willing to be a part of that state of mind, then maybe they shouldn't be here in the great state of Texas. Because we will not look like California. We will not look like Illinois. We will not look like New Jersey. We will not look like New York. As a matter of fact, tell those people one simple thing. Since we're in church, remember what God told Lot when he was about to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. He told the family one thing. Don't look back. So we need to challenge those people. This is what we're going to do for the Republican Party of Texas. First thing, every single county, we are going to produce an entire ballot slate. Because too often we go into the ballot box and we have no clue of all of those very key down ballot races. There's a lot of enthusiasm out there for President Trump. You all know your congressional candidate, but let me tell you something, you need to know your state house candidates. We got 3 state Supreme Court positions that are up for election. In 2018, the Republican Party in Texas lost 56 judicial positions. 56. Mostly in Dallas and in Harris County. We cannot afford to lose any more of these judicial positions. There are some places where a lot of the city council and school board positions were not voted on in March because of the COVID-19 issue, and they've been pushed onto the ballot in November. The most important elected position in the United States of America, and also in the great state of Texas, the school board. Do you want your kids to be educated, or do you want your kids to be indoctrinated? So So we got to know that complete ballot. I want to challenge you every single Monday. As your chairman, I will be putting out the chairman's message point. I want you to take that message point and I want you to get it out there and share it with everyone. The message point from this past week was Black lives always matter to the Republican Party. Because you are members of a party that was founded on Independence Day of 1867 by 150 black men. I am not the first black chairman of the Republican Party of Texas. I'm not even the second black chairman of the Republican Party. See, that's what I'm saying. I can't even catch a break. I couldn't even be first hand. I'm the third. That's our history. And we do not need to be on our heels, worried about an organization that is a Marxist organization in nature. When you think about this organization that has usurped this name, Black Lives Matter, they don't care about the real issues facing the black community today. They don't care about fatherlessness. They don't care that 20 million black babies have been murdered in the womb since 1973. They don't care about the decimation of economic opportunity. They don't care about the decimation of economic and educational opportunity in the black community. I was born in 1961 in a blacks-only hospital in Atlanta, Georgia. I grew up in the same neighborhood that produced Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. John Lewis, the deceased congressman, was my congressman growing up in Atlanta. But think about how the left treated Herman Cain and some of the things that they said. An incredible life that mattered to so many people. An incredible life that was the embodiment of the American entrepreneurial spirit. And look at how they treated his life. You don't see them talking about all of the shootings in Chicago. You don't see them saying anything when 1-year-old, a 2-year-old, a 3-year-old little black kids are being gunned down and murdered in their own homes. I'm telling you, stop being on your heels. Define this organization and understand your legacy as the Republican Party of Texas. And realize this, that most of the ills in our major urban population centers, it's because of a man who was the president, who's from Texas, by the name of Lyndon Baines Johnson. See, we don't need to have this discussion about racism. We need to have the discussion about the failure of the Great Society programs. And if you want to know the biggest purveyors of systemic racism in the United States of America, it's their party. And when you go on offense, you put them on defense, and you just expose them for who they are. Think about how, let me tell you about how stupid the other side is. The very first thing that the Texas Democrat Party puts out on a press release about me, maybe y'all saw it. The Texas Republican Party just elected a racist to be its chairman. Really? I mean, that's the best you can come up with? Maybe they don't even know what I look like. And someone asked me, are you going to respond to that? I said, it's too stupid to respond to. But none of y'all are racist. Our history as Republicans is not racist. Those 150 men that founded the Republican Party of Texas, just 2 years earlier, they found out that they were free because of what 2 years earlier to that, the first Republican president did. And that was Abraham Lincoln in setting them free. That's how it is. How many precinct chairs we got here? All right, precinct chairs. You know, there are two things that they say in the military you have to fear. It's a lieutenant with a map and a compass, and it's a sergeant with a clipboard. But all you precinct chairs, I want you to have a clipboard. You gotta have a clipboard that lists every single person in your precinct that's Republican. You got to have, that's your battle roster. And if you can find out those independents, if you can find out some of those conservative Democrats that are out there, put them on your battle roster also, because I want you to track and make sure that every one of those people have voted by November the 3rd. And it's your responsibility, precinct chair. And we're here to help you, make sure you have the right names, but it's your responsibility to make sure to call, to contact these people, and make sure that they get out to vote. Because that's how we're going to win. It's from the grassroots all the way up. Let me close out by saying this, because I want to give your great congressional candidate as much time as he needs and wants. There's a quote that has become our motto for the Texas GOP, and the quote is very simple. It says that the devil whispers to the warrior, "You cannot withstand the coming storm." But the warrior whispers back, "I am the storm." We are the Texas GOP, and we are the storm. God bless you all, and thank you. The next congressman, Amarillo, Dr. Ronny Jackson.
All right, hey, thank you guys. When I got here today, I thought I was just going to get up and I was going to say a few words and introduce our new chairman, and the last thing I wanted to do was follow him as a speaker. I've heard him speak enough to know that's not a good recipe for most folks, including myself. But no, what I want to do is I want to just tell you guys, our new chairman couldn't be more right. We are on the front lines of this fight right now. And I'm blessed enough right now to be the Republican candidate in the 13th Congressional District of Texas. Which, by the way, is the #1 most conservative Republican district in the entire United States. So with that said, what I want to tell you guys, what I've been up to and what I continue to do for the rest of this race. We got another race. I'm not your elected congressman yet. That's going to happen in November, hopefully. But what I can tell you is that the chairman's right. We got a lot of work to do here in Texas. I came into this, and you've heard me say, and I'm going to be brief too, because you guys are worn out from listening to me talk already, because I've been talking to you guys for months and months now. But I'll tell you, one of the biggest challenges we have right now is to keep Texas red, right? And we don't worry about that up here in 13 all that much. We know that we're going to have a Republican congressman the way things are right now, but we have to understand, and we all do understand, that what happens to us in this country is not just a matter of who's elected here, but who's elected all over this country, and in particular here in our state of Texas, where we can have some influence on it. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to work hard to continue to fight this fight and to finish this race out in November. I'm going to be all over this district. I'm going to be talking to you guys on a regular basis. You're going to see me all the time. But the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get out there and I'm going to do what I can to keep Texas red. I'm going to find those candidates. Work hard. I'm going to find those candidates here in Texas that are in tight races right now with the Democrats that need some help getting over the line. I'm going to get out there. I'm going to do everything I can to get the vote out for those folks. I'm going to raise money for them. I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that we get another Republican vote in the House of Representatives. And I tell you, people say all the time, this is the most important vote of our lifetime. You've heard that before, right? But I'm telling you, we all know, we're looking at the alternative right now, and this is the most important election of our lives. If we lose this one, I don't know where we go from here. I really don't. I told you guys before I got in this race because I'm disgusted with what's going on in our country. I'm disgusted. I told you, I never pictured myself saying this. It sounds kind of cliche, but I'm terrified of the future we're going to leave my kids and my grandkids. I'm worried about my kids and my grandkids. And so, I hear people, one of the more disturbing things I hear people say sometimes when you talk to them is they say, they voted for Trump, or they intend to vote for Trump if they vote, but they're just kind of like they're fatigued. And they're like, we're so tired of this. We're so tired of, like, they've been attacking the president relentlessly. They won't let him do his job. And it's just nonstop. And some people actually think, well, at least if he's not president anymore, this will stop. That's horrible, right? I mean, it will. The attacks on Trump will probably stop, but we'll lose this country. We will lose this country. Now, I'm telling you, nobody wants it to stop more than the president does, but he's not giving up. He's in there every single day. You can see him every single day. He takes all the incoming fire that they can provide, and he gets up the next morning, and he goes back out there, and he starts over again. And we have to maintain that same level of enthusiasm. We got to get out there. We got to vote. We got to find other people that are maybe disgruntled or discouraged or whatever. We got to get them to the polls. The chairman's right. Across this country, we got to win 75 to 80% of the vote. Here in Texas, to keep Texas where we need it to be. So I just say, there's a concerted effort. There's been an effort for a long time, to take us where we're at today. Some of you heard me say before that, the worst thing that happened in the Obama administration, 8 years in the Obama administration, every single thing that they did, everything they did was based on identity politics. Everything. Black versus white, man versus female, rich versus poor, gay versus straight. Everything they did was based on identity politics. And there's a reason for that. They're trying to make everybody pick sides. They're trying to fragment us, right? We don't need to pick sides. We're all Americans in this country. We need to get behind each other. So deep down inside, I'm not that worried about Texas. I'm not, because we got leadership like our new chairman here, and I know he's not going to let them take Texas. We can't take anything for granted. We cannot take anything for granted. We can't stay home because we think it's won. We can't stay home because we're just sick of politics in general. We got to get out there. We got to continue to fight, because it's not about who the president is for the next 4 years, as it is about where our country's headed for the next 20 or 30 years. And that's what's about to be determined in this race. That's what's about to happen. So I wanted to close by saying, I wanted to thank you guys for putting me where I'm at right now. I know a large number of you here went out and voted for me. You supported me. You campaigned for me. You got your neighbors to turn out for me. I really deeply, deeply appreciate that. Thank you for everything. I want to reach out to the ones that might not have voted for me. I'm going to work hard over the next few months to gain your trust and confidence. And I promise, whether you voted for me or not, if I become your congressman in November, I promise you, I'm going to make you proud. I'm going to make you Texas proud. So thank you guys for everything. I'm looking forward to this fight. Let's stay enthusiastic and let's get after it. Thank you.
Hey, folks. Hey, listen here. The time of the circular firing squad is over. We stand together. It's team. It's unity. That's how we go forward. And so, you voted for him, you didn't vote for him, I really don't care. It's all about the red team. The red storm that's going to rise.